But what got me into it, I guess, is our former tribal council um, member. He had been pushing for hemp for a long time, for like 12 plus years, 15 years. And I was in a carpentry class, and he had came and spoke about hemp and all the great uses of hemp. But he mainly came to speak about the building side of it, and it caught my interest. Then he took me down to I think it was the 2021 Hemp Building Summit, the U.S. Hemp Building Summit in Austin, Texas, and that's when I got to see like the projects that were already going on in the U.S. and see all of the experts giving their presentations, and that's what really got me, I guess, going down the rabbit hole. And so
Yeah, tell us a little bit about how you got started in this space and some of the things that you've got going on right now, and just map us out that story for a little bit because it's you've got a heck of a lot of nice momentum. I know everybody will be excited to hear about that.
yeah, well, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm the project manager for the Lower Sioux Industrial Hemp construction program. We have more than just construction, though. We also grow hemp, we process hemp, and then we build with it. And so, our first building that we did, we used our own hemp that we had grown and processed. For our bigger projects, we've had to outsource some of the hemp. But what got me into it, I guess, is our former tribal council um, member. He had been pushing for hemp for a long time, for like 12 plus years, 15 years. And I was in a carpentry class, and he had came and spoke about hemp and all the great uses of hemp. But he mainly came to speak about the building side of it, and it caught my interest. Then he took me down to I think it was the 2021 Hemp Building Summit, the U.S. Hemp Building Summit in Austin, Texas, and that's when I got to see like the projects that were already going on in the U.S. and see all of the experts giving their presentations, and that's what really got me, I guess, going down the rabbit hole. And so that's what got me into it. As far as where we're at now, we have a ton of stuff going on right now, I guess. Like I said, we're trying to grow hemp, process it, and build with it, and so it's a lot to take on at once.
Yeah, it's a very romantic idea, and a lot of people want that. And I usually discourage it unless they've got extra money or extra time. There's folks with like maybe they've got a farm and they want to do that. Um, did that genesis of idea have all of that engulfing it at once when this was being incubated, and then go back to the person that was the driving force of the idea. How did they first get introduced to the whole concept?
Yeah, so that's that predates me. I've only been on the hemp crew for 2 years. I wasn't even hired on when I got to go down to the hemp building summit. But yeah, that's all Earl. This is all his fault, like I like to say. And it was his idea to build houses right away. I I don't want to speak for him. I think you should actually do an interview with him so you can hear it right from the horse's mouth of how it really got going. But yeah, he had always been in the community pushing for hemp, and I know he told me when he had first learned about hemp, it was the buildings that really got to him as well. And we have a big need for housing in our community, and as most tribal communities do. And so he had always had this plan, thinking it was a great blueprint for any tribal community, and that was for over 12 years now. And so he's got it's just a great vision, and to see it all come to life now. I think if we could go back in time,
Michael, you were able to unmute.
So yeah, if we could go back in time, I think we would probably start building first instead of trying to do everything all at once. I think looking back on it now, once we started growing, there, wasn't much traction, even processing, not much going on. And as soon as we had a building, the proof of concept for people to walk inside and touch and see, that's really what like put us over the hump and really got everything set in motion. And now everything else is like falling into place. And so I don't, like you said, I wouldn't recommend anybody trying to do all of it all at once, because it is a lot unless you have, a lot of funding to do it. So I guess, yeah, that's, if we could go back in time, we would probably just start building first. And, it might sound like we're putting the cart before the horse, but I think in this case, it is the best way to do it, our best way to go about it.
Well, it shares the vision very well, and it's very tangible, and you kind of know what you're working towards when you're out working on soil or genetics or processing equipment. You know why you're doing what you're doing on that day. Let me know when you'd like to. I've got your slides queued up, and then we can go ahead and jump in those now, or at any time. I did want to hear from what the current status was on I know there's the Patagonia Project, and then when that's going to release, and then you've got some other projects that just got some awards, and can share about those as well.
Yeah, so the Patagonia Project, they're actually doing a write-up in one of their publications that they do, but then they're also working on a film. And they just came and filmed us. I don't have any say in what goes into the film or any of that part, but I've been told that it's going to be released in September. So I guess I'll keep you guys updated once I know more. But that's all that I know at this time. But yeah, they came out and filmed like in February. I think might have been the first time they came, and we did some different hempcrete stuff with them, some plastering. And then they sent one of the cameramen to NOCO and did some filming there. And then they came back out another time to do filming with a retrofit that we did. We did a complete retrofit of an existing house in the community. And yeah, they filmed that entire process. So all of that will be in the film. I know they did some interviews with people in the hemp industry too. I don't know everybody that they did the interviews with. So yeah, hopefully all of that makes it into the film. So we said it
Yeah.
could. We were told it could be a 6-minute film or a 60-minute film. So
Yeah, well, I think it'll be interesting either way that comes out, or anything in between. And then I think that'll put a lot of people doing a Google search, and a lot of phones will ring, and I think a lot of good things will happen to it. And yours is such a perfect case study because y'all tried so many different methods, and we're going from scratch. I tell you what, we can go ahead and jump in. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and then you can just jump in whenever, um, and let me know which slide you want to go to. Can you see my screen?
Present. Okay, let's see if we can do it. Present. Okay, you guys tell me whether you can see the screen. There's me talking in the corner, sorry, because we had to cobble this from another presentation. But
Yeah.
go ahead. Can you see it?
Yes.
yeah, I can see it. Yeah, so you can just go through. But before we get started, I want it to be clear, I don't consider myself an expert. I don't consider myself a mastermind by any means. So yeah, just putting that disclaimer out there. But yeah, we can roll through. So these are our projects that we've done so far. The first being this demonstration shed that we did 2 years ago. And it was done with all of our own hemp that we grew and that we processed here with our own processing equipment, and then built the entire structure out of, our own hemp. Um, so we've seen it all the way from seed to wall, or as Earl likes to call it, seed to sovereignty. But in that one building, we had three different wall structures in there, our wall systems. We had a double stud wall system, a single stud, with the stud going down the center of the wall. And then we also had one as if we were doing a retrofit. So the stud was all the way to the exterior. So there's three different wall systems. And then we also did two separate attic systems in there. So we did, if it had vaulted ceilings. I think you can go to the next slide. It might even show it.
Oh no.
I know, no, it doesn't. Maybe it cut it out. But either way, so we did two separate attic installations in there to show two different attic insulations.
What
So
were
yeah, that
what
was
were the
all.
materials in that? Was that like the hemp wool, or did you use hempcrete up top?
So in the attic, we used hempcrete in the ceiling. I think towards the end of the slideshow, there might be another slide of this shed of the interior, and I'm pretty sure you can see the ceiling. But so we used hempcrete, and then we also used hempcrete as the insulation. But for the flat ceiling, we just used blown cellulose. And that's what we've done on our projects, is just the blown cellulose. We haven't used any hempcrete as attic insulation in any of our house builds. We were just doing it as, demonstration, basically just to learn the different methods, I guess, to use hempcrete in the building. We can go to the next slide. And so then after that, we didn't have a crew established yet. It was just a few people that showed up for the training. So then this picture was about a year later. We hired a crew on an existing basement. We built this 1,480 square foot house. We built it in less than 17 days total, with all of the hempcrete being placed. This house was done with the hempcrete being sprayed, though. So all of the framing was done in 14 days, and then the placing of the hempcrete was done in 3 days. This was our first build that we did as a crew. We built on an existing basement that had been in the community for 14 years, and it serves now as a duplex, is what we built on it. And so it's two one-bedroom units. Nobody's living in it yet. They're ready to be lived in. I think they're just going through the housing paperwork and all that stuff for somebody to actually be living in them.
Now, is that a conditioned basement? I see grass down in there. I didn't know if that was just because it had been out in the open.
Yes, yeah. So we removed all that, and then we ended up putting a vapor barrier down there, insulated all of that. We actually over beefed that floor, as you can see that floor truss system that we used. So we didn't have an architect or engineer on this project. This house was built on the reservation, and so we could go by our own building codes, but we didn't want to. We wanted to overbuild, I guess, and so everything we looked up, and when we designed the floor trusses on the computer, we even went like above and beyond, and so all of these floor trusses are placed at 1 foot on center, and so you could drive a skid steer up on this floor, and then we even put support beams underneath it, and so yeah, it's a bit of an overkill, but with our first project, we just wanted to make sure everything went right, and so